welcome to the Infusion Billing Icon support video. We will be covering in depth the new Infusion Billing Icon and the new process. You should only watch this video after first completing your health stream assignment. At the end of this lesson, you will have a better understanding of the new icon and process, as well as why the stop time documentation is so important. You will be reminded of the importance of signing off the begin bag each time you start a new continuous medication bag, and the importance of correct documentation of IV flushes. If afterwards you continue to have questions, please feel free to contact us using the information provided at the end of this video. The Infusion Billing icon is located inside the MAR and is used to document the stop time for medications that require it. If the patient is in observation status and given an infusion, the icon will appear after charting the medication was given. Simply click the icon, review the stop time that has auto-populated, and then click Sign. The process for signing the stop time will be demonstrated in detail in just a moment. So why do we have to start signing our stop times for medications? Well, CMS defines an infusion as an IV medication that is administered longer than 15 minutes. Without documentation of a stop time, we are forced to charge these as an IV push, which is quite a bit less than an infusion charge. However, this new process is more than just about the revenue. Stop times paint a better picture of the patient's stay and care received while here. Documenting stop times is best practice and is needed to support orders and physician documentation. Okay, so let's take a look and see how all of this works. So we are currently inside the patient chart, and we start by going down to the MAR. You'll see the medications listed here. And I'm first going to document that a medication was given. So I will go down to my Zofran and just document that I have given that medication to the patient. Now once I refresh, I'm going to see the icon appear right above the name of the medication that was documented as given. This little icon, it's supposed to be an infusion bag. It's kind of like green and rectangular. That lets you know that a medication has a need for a stop time. If you don't see it, then that means it's already been signed off or that medication does not qualify for needing a stop time. You simply left click on the icon and you'll have a box appear. This is where you document the time that the medication has ended. You'll see the start time. That is auto-populated based on the time that you documented of giving the medication. And next to that is the end time. This will usually auto-populate with the correct duration time. So if you have given a medication that has a set rate for the medication to be given over 30 minutes, then this end time would actually show 30 minutes and this duration would show 30 minutes, and you can simply sign it. With the IV pushes, all of them will have the same start and end time and a duration of 0 minutes. To change this, you simply go to the end time documentation area and click up on the arrow a couple of times for the time, and then you'll notice that the duration also changes as well. Once you're satisfied with what the duration shows, you simply click Sign. It's okay to ignore the infusion volume area. This does not affect your INO. It does not populate into that area. For some medications, this will say 0. Some of them will say the actual mLs of the administration. But it does not affect anything, and you can just simply ignore it. Once you're comfortable with what the settings show, you can click Sign, and it will document it. Now the icon will still be above the name of the medication until you refresh the page. We can refresh now, and you'll see the icon disappear. Now there is no other indication that the stop time has been documented visually on the MAR. You'll just notice that the icon goes away. But if you do want to check on that, you simply right click inside of the box that holds the name of the medication and go down to the infusion billing option. Once you click that, it will show you what the infusion billing time was documented as, the start time, the end time, and the duration here. If you want to change that, you can go up to the modify button, and it will open it back up for you to make any alterations that you need to. The durations will also simulate that same time, and you can click sign again. And you can refresh, and then when you go back inside of Infusion Billing, you will see the new time populate, as well as the option to modify again if you feel the need. So that is how it works for most medications, for PRN medications, for one-time medications, and even for multiple doses. And if we come down here to the potassium, now this is multiple doses. It's not a continuous infusion because it's not, of course, always going. We just want to give the 3 doses that were ordered by the provider. And so we will document those as given now. So now I still have my icon here available for the 3 doses. You will not see multiple icons when you give more than one of the same medication as we did here with the potassium. It will still just be the one icon. But once you left click on the icon and open up our box, you'll see the multiple doses are here and present. If there are medication doses that you do not wish to put a stop time on, you're going to simply uncheck those options, and you'll see that the start and end time change to NA. And if it is checked, that means that you will be documenting the stop time for the medication. Okay? And just for the demonstration purposes, I'm just going to mark it up a little bit here. Again, we do not worry about the infusion time, and I would click sign. Now, instances that you would not want to document a stop time for a medication would be if it was not given on your shift. There may be maybe the nurse before you, the shift before you, somebody who took over on your lunch break. They may be the ones who were there when the medication had stopped and it was not you. So they will be responsible for documenting the stop time on that medication. If you uncheck it, you are not responsible for it. And when you click sign, you are only signing the doses that are checked and that you have put a stop time to. So I'm going to go ahead and sign this first dose of potassium, and I will refresh the computer. Now the icon has not gone away. There are still 2 doses that need to have a stop time added to them. These were the ones that were unchecked just a few minutes ago. So you will still see the icon above the name of the medication as long as there are doses that need to have stop times added. So you may find in some circumstances that the nurse prior to you is actually responsible for signing off the dose of the medication, and you may be going home with icons still on the MAR. But you do want to check and be sure that you are not responsible for signing off any stop times so that you will not have to come back on your next shift and take care of those. Now I would like to address one of the limitations with signing the stop times for your medications. First, just know that my screen looks a little bit different. I've hidden some of the menus that I do not need for the demonstration, and I am still inside of the MAR. Now here on my Levaquin, I have signed off the medication as being given at 2:18, and I would like to go in and sign my stop time. If I click my icon, the box appears like it did prior. Just know that in order to activate the signing of this medication, I actually need to click the little box here and select it, and then all of the information will populate as it had before. However, you will notice that I have a yellow requirement box here for this medication. The reason for that is because you cannot document that far into the future. The duration for this medication is 1 hour and 30 minutes, which is normal for the Levaquin medication. If I were to come in prior to that and try to sign off the stop time, the computer will not let me. Now, this should not be a problem because we are having to wait until the medication is actually stopped before we come in and put our in time, even though we do have them on the pumps and we can pretty much know that the medication is going to stop at the time it's supposed to. Technically, we should not be putting in that medication has ended until it is actually ended. However, this restriction is something that has been built into the computer where you cannot document more than an hour into the future. So because this medication is an hour and a half, I'm not able to put in my stop time. So unlike the IV pushes, in which you can document the stop time right away, you do have to actually wait until the medication has been infused before coming back and putting in your stop time. Now, if that medication will continue to be infused after you go home, and another nurse is going to be taking over that patient, that nurse will then be responsible for putting in the stop time because they're the ones who are caring for the patient when the medication actually stops. So it doesn't matter who started the medication. What matters is who is in charge of the patient or caring for the patient when the medication stops. They are the ones who are responsible for putting in that stop time. When changing medication bags for continuous infusions, it is very important that you always document a new begin bag each time it is changed. If a patient has a continuous medication running, for instance hydration, and you change the normal saline bag, you have to be sure to document the stop time for the bag that you're changing, and also be sure to document the begin bag for the new bag that is being started. Please do not ignore the pop-up that appears after scanning the next bag. Here is a visual reminder of what this looks like. Okay, so now let's take a look at continuous infusions. For this example, I will be using normal saline here as a continuous infusion at 125 over 8 hours. So we have already ran our first liter out, and now we need to change them. So we need to document the stop time for the first bag, and then we need to document the administration of the second bag. So to document the stop time, we will do it just like we have with all the other medications in this demonstration. We're going to go to our infusion billing icon and left click it, and we'll see our familiar box pop up. So we need to activate this documentation by clicking the little box here to the left. And we will have our time frame here, and if this truly were, of course, the end of the bag, it would not be yellow, and you would be able just to verify the time and sign it. For demonstration purposes only, I'm going to go in and change the time so that we can continue. But I'm going to sign it and refresh it, and you will see that the icon has disappeared from our normal saline. If there are nurses who need to sign off prior stop times for this same medication, then the icon will still be here. Okay, but you just want to be sure any stop times you're responsible for are completed and signed off. So now that we have documented one bag has ended, we're going to document the begin bag for the next one. Using the barcode system, when you scan in the new bag of normal saline, you should see the pop-up for the begin bag, and it's going to look like this. Please do not ignore this. This needs to be signed. Okay? With that being said, you also need to be sure that you are using the barcode system to scan the normal saline bag 100% of the time. To demonstrate the new begin bag, I want to show you these little tabs here. Okay, now this can be confusing to some people who maybe are not familiar with the system or haven't been here for a long time or just may not know. These, you can actually click on them. They are action buttons. So when you want to document that you are starting a new bag, you need to be sure that you actually click this begin bag and that the border of that cell is bolded. Okay, and you're going to see the information change down here in the bottom. And if we were to document something different, you are again going to see new information down here in the bottom. So begin bag is selected. It will already put in for you the number of bags that this is, what this new bag is. If we've already had 3 bags infused into this patient, this number currently then would be number 4. Okay, so it does keep track for you. You don't have to go back and count how many have already been administered. Nothing like that. It's all automated for you. Okay, it also has the volume and it has the rate. So this is based off of the order that the provider has placed in the computer. Now this, the site, this is going to be nursing. If it has been moved to another site, then you need to be sure that you reflect that by changing it here on the drop-down menu. If everything looks normal, everything looks good for you, then you're going to click Apply, and you'll see here a new column appear on the top portion. Apply only means that it's populating the new information here for you to review. It is not signed yet. You still need to go and click the green check mark like we do for other things that we have to sign. But it does allow you to be sure that we have sequential bags listed, that the correct site is there, and that you have not performed a rate change. And I will go ahead and click the signature button here and refresh. And I need to scroll down a little bit, and you will see that now I have a new begin bag. You continue that same process until the order has either been discontinued by the provider or the patient is discharged. So really just any time that the medication is not being infused, you would stop it like normal. And if you are changing the bag, you need to be sure that you document the begin bag for that medication. If it was time again to change the bag for the third dosage, then we would click the same button here, or for in your case you would scan it in. You would have the pop-up here, and we would again need to be sure to click begin bag. Because it defaults to the first begin bag cell, any changes that you make here are going to be reflected in the documentation as being a change to the first bag administration. So you want to be sure you click begin bag. Be sure that the correct sequential number is here. And I can tell that because I've already got 1 and 2 and now 3. That is kind of just another way for me to know that I am doing the correct documentation for begin bag. And again, I have not changed my site, so I will apply. I'm going to review my information quickly and sign it off again. When I refresh, I will then see another begin bag. So there is no change to that process. It is something that we are currently doing, and we just want to give everyone a reminder that we need to continue to follow through with this process each and every time that we start a new bag on a continuous infusion. If we come back here to our icon, we can left click again. We will see that there are the stop times available here for our documentation. If I wanted to sign both of those off, then I can. If I only wanted to sign one off, I'm only responsible for one, then I would sign one off. Okay. Or if I'm just going back to review and be sure that all the ones I'm responsible for have been marked off, then I would uncheck both of these or simply just cancel the documentation. And then this way I can ensure I was responsible for bag number 1 stop time. That has been documented. I am not responsible for bag number 2 or 3, and so I will just cancel the documentation. Another way to review that all of your stop times have been completed is to right-click on the medication, select infusion billing, and review what is there. You'll notice that the top one is all of the documentation that has been completed and has been signed off. In a continuous infusion example, the duration is not going to show 0 minutes. It will show the amount of time that the medication actually ran for. So if it did go for the 8 hours before you had to change the bag, it will show the duration of the 8 hours. This 0 minutes is simply for training purposes. Underneath the documentation, you will see the ability to go ahead and document more stop times if you need to. Now we're going to take just a moment to review the IV flushes. It's very important that every time an IV flush is administered that it is documented in the MAR. Now we're not changing that process, so whatever you are currently doing on your unit to document that a saline flush was given is what you're going to continue to do. This is just a reminder that every time a saline flush is used, it needs to be documented on that patient's chart. So inside the MAR here, you're going to see that the order is already there for you. That has been put in by pharmacy when they go through to verify the other medications. So all you'll need to do is continue with the process that you're using on your unit to document that a flush was given. It should be through the barcode scanning, but you can also come in and manually document that the administration was given to the patient. Okay? And again, we're not changing that process, so whatever you are currently doing on your unit needs to continue. However, there are inconsistencies with the documentation. So patients receiving IV flushes don't always have that reflected on their MAR, meaning that it's not always being documented as given, even though it was. So you just need to be sure, after each administration that it is documented, just like you have given any other medication. Also be aware that when you go to the Omnicell to remove a flush, however many flushes you are telling the Omnicell that you're taking out needs to be what you're actually removing. So if you tell Omnicell that you're going to take one flush from patient A, that is all that you should be taking out of the Omnicell at that time. If you need multiple flushes for multiple patients, then you actually need to exit out of that patient's name, type in the next one, and then mark how many flushes you're going to be removing and then take them out. If you find that you still have questions, either now or later during patient care, feel free to contact Revenue Integrity at the information provided on your screen. Your charge nurse and unit leadership are always available to answer any questions you may have.